evening and welcome to Today on 1. I'm Maggie Forciedo. In the news tonight, Swartboy claims he was almost sodomized. Tobias Hanyeko's income-generating projects get 150,000 Namibia dollars boost. Local phone briefcase to premiere at FNCC. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on 1, Sports and the Weather. Now for the news in detail. The urgent application by Landless People's Movement LPM leaders Bernardus Swartboy and Henny Sebeb brought before the High Court against their removal from Parliament by the Speaker of the National Assembly Peter Kachivivi has been dismissed with costs. At a press conference to respond on the matter, Swartboy revealed information obtained from his sources that pertained to the incident at the State of the Nation address. Leston Voller has more.
But the treason charges, as it relates to me, and Ivan is here, as per information that we received from police officers, was to take possession of my body and allow at least 10 men to have sexual intercourse with me, anal sex with me, so that they could psychologically destroy me. That was the purpose of the treason charges. It was not treason itself. It was to find a legitimate way that would trigger the executive to take possession of me. Remember, they took possession of us at our workstation and got us out of our workstation. That was Thursday. The Saturday, they initiated a process through which the executive can further take hold of our bodies, and in my instance, have anal sex with me, with at least 10 men, record it, and then distribute it so that my children and other people could see how I am being mutilated.
Swartboy added that investigations regarding allegations against the state security have commenced, but not the same could be said about the case of high treason opened against them.
As far as the investigations are concerned about the allegations that Sebeb and I made to Shoya and Johan Sharanguru, there has been statements taken. A commissioner, deputy commissioner from Omaheke region has been appointed with 2 other people. One is the head of internal investigations, and then another chief detective also came. 3 people. They were here. They explained the issues. They took statements, additional witness statements from Mutara Motu and from Sebeb. They also took the jacket of Sebeb as an exhibit. So that investigation about the assault charges and those ones are continuing. We are also informed that on the treason one, the one that they wanted to have sex with me, rape, that one apparently a separate team has been put in place. They will also do their investigations. So we are waiting for them. We are going to give our cooperation.
Swartboy stated that the Speaker of the National Assembly went to court before following the relevant internal processes.
Judge Miller has made his ruling, which is actually a very poor ruling, I must say. It doesn't contribute to the body of intellectual knowledge. It doesn't contribute to any jurisprudential development. It is just a restatement of what the Constitution says. It is a restatement of things that we know. But he basically avoids to deal with the core question that we've asked. And the question that we've asked is, does the Speaker have the power in terms of Rule 124 to withdraw members of a party as he did? And all he says is, there are internal processes ongoing. But remember, the urgent application was made, I think on the Friday. He postponed it to Tuesday to give respondents time. During that period, the respondents on Monday generated a process which was even incorrect, which they are continuing with, and laid to them that there is an internal process going on. So he doesn't highlight that very fact, that at the point when we made the urgent application, there was no court process. we were challenging a decision taken by the Speaker without due process. So during the weekend, the respondent was allowed space to attempt to create a semblance of a due process, and the court sort of took that and said, this is the due process, therefore go back to Parliament and deal with the matters there.
Today, one contacted presidential spokesperson Alfredo Hangari, who said that the high treason case is before the court and can't comment at this stage.
And a new and exciting action film titled Briefcase, which features a gallery of Namibian actors together with an American actor, will premiere this Friday, the 7th of May at the Franco-Namibian Cultural Centre in Windhoek. Joseph Ilonga has more.
I just want my briefcase.
It's all right, Lani.
Shut up!
The new local action film titled Briefcase is set around an American Navy SEAL with marital issues by the name of Tom, who arrives in Namibia for a business trip and thereafter loses his briefcase, which contains cash and documents. Today on One spoke to the producer of the film, Gustav Nuyoma from Optimistic Pictures, to find out more about the action-packed movie.
Briefcase is a movie about, or a film about, a U.S. Navy SEAL who came to Namibia to do business while he's struggling with his own personal life. So one day while he was on a normal day in Windhoek, while he was going home, the wife called, when are you? I want a divorce and all that. So he pulled off on the side of the road to rethink this decision and just to calm down so that he can go focus now or go back again in Windhoek traffic. But unfortunately, at the place where he parked, it's a hijacking spot. These Katutura thieves be grabbing people's stuff. So his briefcase was grabbed and the guys ran away. So the movie starts from there, and all the things that our character Tom has to do to reclaim his briefcase, because all the important documents are in there to seal this deal.
Jacob Amagulu, popularly known as Legetto, who plays the character of a notorious gangster named General, is a Namibian music legend in his own rights. Today on One spoke to Amagulu to find out how the character General in the film was developed and how he managed to take on this challenging role.
When they called me, I was thinking like, how will I be general? Really? But yeah, I went to consult the real generals in the hood, the real ones, not the movie ones. You understand? The Bizas, the big guys, on how must I handle this situation for my job to be easier. They told me, no, this is how a general should be, this is how a general behaves, this is how a general talks. So when I went there, the guys took me on. I think the first shot that we shot, they were, we were the guy that we need. So the guys, the real generals from the hood, really made my work easier. That's why you must always consult real people before you jump into something.
Philemon Stefanus, also known as Mabuza, who stars as Seven in the Briefcase movie, is a rising star in the Namibian cinema and has showcased his acting talent in films such as Ompata, a local web series that took the film industry by storm. We also sat down with Mabuza to find out his views about the significant development the Namibian film industry has seen in the recent years.
It's about time to change this Namibian film industry. With the little resources we have, please, let's just try. I love the way that Nino is doing on Pata. Continue doing that, my brother, with your phone that you are shooting with. Continue giving people the content. That's beautiful. So I'm also trying to inspire the other kids also with the small phones that you have. Do what you have to do. Edit if you have to edit it. Give it. People will enjoy and just stream it on YouTube. I believe this movie will take us to some film festivals in Namibia, outside Namibia. So let's just make it happen.
Briefcase will premiere this Friday, the 7th of May at 6 p.m. at the FNCC Theatre in Windhoek, and tickets are $40 Namibia at the gate, where 3 screenings will take place following each other due to the COVID-19 restrictions on large gatherings.
The Tobias Hanyeko Constituency Office, together with the Commerce Regional Office, handed over materials and equipment valued at 150,000 Namibia dollars to 10 income-generating businesses from the constituency. Selma Tapopi has this report.
Aimed at assisting small to medium enterprises, the constituency's development committee has to date identified over 160 qualifying projects who were successfully assisted and has now chosen 10 project owners from the Tobias Hanyeko constituency with businesses in butchery, takeaway, tailoring and knitting, barbershop and soap making amongst others. In a speech on his behalf, the Tobias Hanyeko constituency councillor called on members of the public to support the beneficiaries and ensure growth within their respective businesses.
It is true the constituency faces a high number of unemployment, which has been worsened by the COVID-19. But my office, together with the SME owners, are trying very hard to make their businesses work and employ others under the current economic condition. Dear beneficiaries, this equipment and material are given to you so that you can improve your business operation and grow. As you are empowered to do the same in the community by employing others so that it improves their livelihood, thereby decreasing the unemployment and the poverty level in our constituency.
Chief Development Planner within the Commerce Regional Council's Planning Directorate encouraged the beneficiaries to use the opportunity and contribute to the government's objectives of employment creation and in turn eradicate poverty.
I think we all acknowledge that it's a privilege to be selected to benefit from this program. I think we might think, okay, we voted for the councillor, so he must give us something. But unfortunately, the councillor was elected by thousands of people, and hundreds, if not thousands, applied for this funding for this year. And out of those hundreds, only 10 of you were successful, which, as Mr. Mashokere just said, it's luck, but it's also just a huge privilege.
Beneficiaries receiving the 150,000 worth of equipment and materials extended gratitude to the government for having made the initiative possible, noting that the opportunity will be used to empower other youth through employment and skills development.
People are out there crying for opportunities. It's not easy. The resources are few, but this is really a good move from the government through the Regional Councillor's Office. I will take this opportunity as a young person that found myself in the program to be assisted. I'll try my best to expand my business and to make sure that through me the government has an investment that is going out there.
My brother, if she say no, she means no. Let's speak out against gender-based violence. Together, we can make Namibia a safer place for everyone. My Namibia, my country, my pride.
In other leading stories, the Ombudsman has filed a contempt of court application against the Minister of Gender, Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, Doreen Siaka, for failing to comply with a court order dated 22 December 2020. The High Court of Namibia, on the aforementioned date, ordered the minister to inter alia state under oath what steps she would take to ensure that places of safety and child detention centres are approved established and operated as required in Chapter 5 of the Child Care and Protection Act 3 of 2015, and to provide the court and the Ombudsman with the affidavit. Nearly 2 months have passed since the due date of 31 March 2021, and the Minister has failed to comply with the court's orders. It should further be noted that the Minister has not sought any extension from the court. The Ombudsman, in his contempt application, requests that the court compel the Minister to comply with the court order dated 22 December 2020. The Ombudsman also requests that the Minister bears the legal costs of the contempt of court application. The matter that gave rise to the court order granted in December is of utmost importance and highly sensitive as it involves the well-being of children. Section 231 of the Child Care and Protection Act states that a child detained in a place used as a prison or police cell must be kept separately from adults except under specified unique circumstances. The Children's Advocate is tasked with ensuring that the provisions of the Child Care and Protection Act are implemented. The Ombudsman and the Children's Advocate will exhaust all avenues to ensure that this is done. And to continue increasing access to HIV services for all people in Namibia, the U.S. Embassy in Namibia has supported the opening of 2 HIV testing facilities in cooperation with the Namibian Correctional Service. Working through the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Namibia in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Social Services, the embassy has partnered with the Namibian Correctional Service to establish HIV testing sites at the Gobabas and Amaruru correctional facilities. Due to the close setting of correctional facilities, incarcerated populations are at particular risk of COVID-19 infection. The new HIV testing services have an added benefit of reducing exposure of inmates to COVID-19 infection from the community. Funding for these activities, which is provided by the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief PEPFAR, will enable the Namibian Correctional Service and the Namibian Police Force NAMPOL to help end HIV transmission and strengthen HIV care among people in correctional facilities. In 2021, PEPFAR is providing $89 million funding to support Namibia's HIV prevention, care and treatment program. Since the beginning of PEPFAR, the U.S. government has invested nearly $1.6 billion in HIV programming in Namibia.
As a Namibian musician, it is a joy to have a museum of Namibian music depicting different genres of music produced in Namibia. Music has a strong bond that it can create, and I believe that the museum will make us bond. This museum is also significant as it can safeguard our music heritage for future generations to come.
I would like also Namibians not only to visit the museum, but also to help us to plan, to sponsor, and create new displays and events at the museum in the future. Many of us have old photographs or perhaps even an old instrument.
Because level's been hot the whole year. I'm a boss like Sydney, a boss like Ranga, a boss like TD. And I go to work on the beat, so boy, you can check my CD or check my rap. Museums is all on my back, and if you don't know, you gon' act. I'm top 5 and I drop fire, no rumors here, it's all fact. Say okay, 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 okay. Let me hear you at home say okay, 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 okay. Everybody say.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm your host, Joseph Shifeni. The central bank has introduced an authority that safeguards the funds of depositors in the event of a commercial bank failure. Based at the Bank of Namibia, the scheme became operational in 2020 and was officially launched recently in the capital by the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank. Namibia is no stranger to commercial banks failing and depositors finding themselves on the losing end. As part of the Namibia financial sector strategy adopted in 2012, a financial safety net was to be established to ensure depositors' protection and the country's financial stability. In this regard, the Bank of Namibia launched the Namibia Depository Guarantee Authority with most local commercial banks as members. Esther Kali, the Chief Executive Officer of Letsego and Chairperson of the Bankers Association of Namibia, applauded the Namibian government and said that the scheme is long overdue.
I must applaud the government of Namibia, the Bank of Namibia in particular, for the oversight displayed with the timely passing of the long overdue Deposit Guarantee Act, which brought us all here today. The lesson learned, with particular from the banking perspective worldwide and in Namibia, are indeed painful. The SME Bank being one of such case in a point of time, the experience still fresh in the mind of every Namibia could have been avoided. It is unfortunate that the banks failed before the Namibia had any law such as the Deposit Guarantee Act to protect the consumers. I can assure the audience that the banking fraternity understood the importance of establishing the Namibia Deposit Guarantee to bring Namibia banking environment on par with international best practices by affording more protection to the bank customers.
The board chairperson of the authority is Absent Wanguta, who is also the deputy governor of the Bank of Namibia. As he officially launched the Namibia Depository Guarantee Authority, he said the NDGA will be operational from the central bank for the time being.
As you may have heard, that the bank has taken the responsibility to provide administrative and budgetary support to this new entity. We are here to pledge our commitment that for the next couple of years, until this entity has raised enough fund on its own to be able to sustain itself, the bank is making that pledge that it will be able to support Namibia Deposit Guarantee Authority until such a time comes. You may have heard in the presentation that there is a bilateral cooperation between the two institutions, between Bank of Namibia and the Namibian Deposit Guarantee Authority. So our support, both budgetary and administrative, will be channeled through that process.
Giving remarks on behalf of the Minister of Finance, board member Festus Ngifenwa said small depositors will benefit greatly.
Bank depositors, particularly small depositors, are vulnerable to information asymmetry. Unlikely to have the information, knowledge, and resources necessary to accurately assess the safety of their funds. It is for this reason that the NDGA targets primarily smaller depositors. The primary mandate of the institution we are launching today is to ensure that in an unlikely event of bank failure, small depositors are compensated of their deposit in a timely and transparent manner.
According to the International Association of Deposit Insurers, as of 2018, more than 140 countries worldwide had deposit guarantee or insurance schemes. The decision by Namibia to establish the NDGA is through an Act of Parliament, Act number 16 of 2018. That's all we have for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
Hey, what's new? This is What's New, the show packed full of news and stories just for you from BBC Africa. Want to see more? Here we go. 10 years after the protests of the Arab Spring, young Tunisians are marching in the footsteps of their elders. What is it like living in the country most affected by COVID on the continent? We'll be speaking to young people in South Africa almost a year after the first case of coronavirus there.
I feel like we're just tired of the virus. We are tired. People are getting retrenched. People are losing family. So I feel like we are definitely devastated.
Dancing themselves to a better future. You'll meet the young people from Bariga beating the odds with theatre.
Dance has transformed my life. It has helped me change a lot of things. We might be from Bariga, a dirty, poor community, but we are ready to take over the world.
Music made in Eswatini, while symphony strikes the right notes, and award-winning musician. We meet the country's youngest designer making traditional regalia.
I like making people happy because when they're going, they look beautiful, and I'm like, yeah, that's my hand's work.
Why did Eswatini change its name from Swaziland? Well, we hear from the people and we meet a prince.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. The Cheetah Cement employees staged a peaceful demonstration recently at which they called on management to take immediate action against Chinese nationals that are threatening fellow employees with no repercussions from the company. Fortune Agrippa suggested the cement company be boycotted if the allegations are true. Jake Speed says even the union is corrupt. Musweu Felix hopes that no elites are behind these operations. Sono Erastus says the workers are on their own, suggesting that they vote wisely. And the Student Union of Namibia has assisted Joanna Gwashameya to return to iCare Health Training Institute to continue her nursing studies. Gwashameya was previously deregistered due to her condition. The Sun leadership has described it as pure discrimination. Auma Haufiku noted that what the institution did was wrong and commended the Sun for what they have done. While Nice, Joseph and Michelin welcomed the news. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
Hello and welcome to Life Clinic, your weekly dose of health and wellness from the BBC.
However, there is a school of thought that feels that organic food is too overpriced, yet they seem easier to grow and rare. But what do experts make of this?
You are paying for quality, you are paying for safety, you are paying for your health. Because the other alternative is consuming conventional foods that contain contaminants.
For those who choose to shave, let's say using clippers or a razor, use those that are specifically made for the genital area. So they're very different from the ones for the face or for the rest of the body, because in terms of shape and the angle, it sort of helps it so that you don't cut yourself in the process.
Should I be concerned about getting a prostate check? We as healthcare providers are first and foremost concerned about the prostate because it's one of the contributors of a silent disease. Silent disease meaning prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is one of the main killers, not only locally, but globally. So
everybody experiences anxiety. You have a job interview, you have a presentation you're going to make, so everybody goes through some kind of anxiety. What differentiates this normal day-to-day anxiety to now this is a disorder is that you experience these symptoms for a long time.
step up the cozy. In younger kids' slippers from $54.99. Or adult slippers only $59.99. Why pay more? Get loads more in store this winter. Life's better with Pep.
At Spar, we've checked every price, counted every coin, and cut every cost to bring you Spar Super Saver Week. Get even more for your money, like Bacoma Wheat Bix for just $20.99 and Rhodes Baked Beans in tomato sauce. Buy 6 for only $48. It's Super Saver Week at Spar. 3 to 9 May only. Don't miss out.
Charo Musiandaka is standing by for today's sports update.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm Charo Musiandaka. The Namibian Boxing Federation recently had their first executive meeting, which took place in Onono in the Ohangwena region. The meeting included the appointment of Secretary General for the Federation, which was yet to be filled after last year's annual general meeting, which took place in Windhoek. This report from Castro Olumbu.
The Namibia Boxing Federation has expressed deep concern with certain boxing stables that are organizing amateur boxing tournaments without the knowledge of the federation. Speaking to Today on One Sports Desk, Benjamin Rebang mentioned that an events calendar was set up at the executive meeting and has sent out a stern warning to the stables to avoid holding such events without consulting the federation, alluding to the recent MTC Kilimanjaro Amateur Championship that recently took place in GOtv.
We also then adopted some regulations, two very important ones. One was for competitions and events, the other one was for membership. Because at the end of the day, we want to know who our members are. And for us, all of us to then rally, and do things, and go into the same direction. What we then did was we also adopted our calendar, our events calendar at national level, in which we now have some, should I call them events that are lined up. Some of them, because this calendar was to start maybe some 2 months ago, we had to readjust them so that we can then see and do whatever that we can. For the new year. With us, we want boxing to be organized, and that's why we were also not there. Yeah, because it's not something that we are aware of as the Namibia Boxing Federation. Bernard, by the way, is also a professional promoter, and we from the Namibia Boxing Federation, we really want this type of events, and for people who love boxing to desist from this type of things. And that's why we have a calendar, and that's why we, within our regulations, it's clear what needs to happen for a tournament to happen. Because at the end of the day, if anything happens at those type of particular tournaments, the Namibia Boxing Federation will not be answerable to that. We know that there are a lot of people who likes boxing, but what we are saying is for all of us to come to the table and then do boxing in an organized manner.
At the executive meeting held in Onuno in Ohangwena region, the Namibia Boxing Federation also had a chance to witness the Ohangwena Boxing Federation Regional Championship, which he commended. He further urged other regions to organize similar championships. Namibia is yet to select a team to represent the country at the Region 5 Games. Rebang has assured that the federation is in talks with the Namibia Sports Commission in order for them to start with the selection process.
Basically, we were very fortunate this time around because the Ohangwena Boxing Federation had their regional championships. And they actually basically provided us that platform to do that, to come and have our AGM. But it was also for us to arrive there and to witness how they also do their regionals. And I should just but mention that it was a very successful tournament. There were a lot of prospect and good talent at that particular tournament. The youth team that has to go to the Region 5 Games, it was not finalized. So this time around, I think with that exposure that these boys had, I think they will be better off when we approach the final selection tournament where we have to select our final team to go to the region. We are aware that with the last regional championships or the regional games that was in Rietfontein, we really had some youth boxers there. Some of them, and for us, youth is basically 17 and 18, and usually those boys will always be around grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. So not all of them could come to the to that particular tournament. So we are really of the opinion that, and that is something that we have shared with the Sports Commission, and we have agreed that we'll definitely they will look after that. So it's just for us to now go approach the Sports Commission and have a chat with them and see how best we can then look at this tournament. We hope that we will be able to do a proper championship where we will get the best talent in Namibia.
The president of the Namibia Boxing Federation has also assured that the federation aims to have an organized amateur boxing organization in the country.
That's all we have for you. Join us on our social media pages for more on our sporting stories. Back to you, Maggie.
Thanks, Charo, for that update. Time now for the weather forecast. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and warm to hot in the southwest and the northeast. Elsewhere, partly cloudy and mild to warm, but hot in the north with a few to isolated thundery showers. The coast partly cloudy and mild to warm, and the wind moderate to fresh northwesterly to southwesterly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond. That is all we have for you this evening. Tune in again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. From me, Maggie Forciedo, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
In a time of uncertainty, false news, and fear, learn on. While the world scrambles to make new sense, while the experts turn around in circles, trying to find their way back to tomorrow. Learn on. When classrooms become empty cathedrals and the trees start to bear answers, learn on. Learn on. Until every parent is a teacher and every teacher is a mentor. Learn on until you cross the boundaries of your mind, until you grow eyes and sprout wings. My friend, learn on sidewalks, on the floor, at the neighbors, in the market, in hallways, in churches, under trees, at kitchen tables, in riverbeds. Learning doesn't only happen between four walls. Learning happens in the small space of your enormous, beautiful mind. Start where you are. Use what you have. Learn on one. Invite learning in.
I like rhinos. I like them very much. Future here in this area is depending on the tourism. The future generation, they can see and they can benefit from their own resources. Animals like rhinos, elephants, the big five, you benefit from them and it must be respected. You are not feeding the rhinos, you are not giving them order, so it's a free business. I take two of my sons, which was little bit 5 years old. They were young guys. So they asked me questions. Why are we here? Why are we sleeping here? I told them this is our resources and this is our future. My first memory of going with my dad is that I learned new things. As I grow up as a man, I see an opportunity in it. So I decided to look for a job pertaining to tourism. So that's when I was employed at Palamba. So I decided to go for tour guide studies because I grew up with the tourism industry, the wildlife, the rhinos and everything, to bring that experience to the tourists. You can see the hyena. The biggest changes, I was employed, getting paid, and also I can now support my family.
It's a cultural thing. It's coming a long way. Even if you go to area like Treverfontein, area was a lot of paintings. You will see rhino engravings on the rocks. That is an indication that the interaction between human, especially the local communities and wildlife, is dating back. That intimacy relationship is coming for a long time.
We are right here now at Palamba, and Palamba is one of the big lodges in the heart of the desert. And as you can see, there is Jumbo standing behind me, which shows it's really a tourist area. We do have elephants, lions, but as you can see, the desert is the heart of the rhinos. This is the main breeding area of the rhinos, is what we found here in this desert.
It's the largest free-roaming population of black rhinos that you find outside national parks in the world. It's a population that communities in the northwest have taken responsibility themselves in managing this population with the structures that government has put in place, more specifically the establishment of conservancies.
These people, before independence, they took it upon themselves and decided that wildlife is our heritage, and through history we've been living with wildlife. And having wildlife in your area is like having a garden.
Because of all these animals, we've got the communities that benefit from all this wildlife, and it's like a triangle that fits into each other. And the communities looked after the wildlife doing their own thing, and the communities benefit.
So already there were this intergenerational relationship between mankind and wildlife, and that bond is what our people actually wanted to see continuing.
Very few countries have the wildlife that Namibia has. What is also important is the policies that Namibia has put in place, which also involves communities to be engaged in the management of the wildlife species and also to benefit from the wildlife resources.
Turn conservation into a rural economy, turn conservation into endless opportunities that would actually cater for those young people that have nothing else to do.
If it was not for rhino economy and tourism in this area, it was really difficult for young people to get or find a job.
We are conservation engineers. We make conservation work in an unfenced area, and through that, we want to turn the wildlife into the rural economy that will benefit the rural communities.
So we can see now wildlife is doing very well, the lodges are doing well, and the community is also benefiting. So it takes all three together.
Devastating hit over coronavirus fears. Airline industry is facing its biggest threat to travel since 9/11.
Since March, when COVID-19 hit Namibia, things actually become very difficult. In the first place, all the lodges closed down because of COVID-19. With us, say the Rhino Trust, we had some donors cutting on their funding. And then we had, in the same time, a poaching case of 2 rhinos that was poached. We had less boots on the ground, and poachers could actually see. Now it's our chance to go in and do something. So COVID-19 was tough on all of us. Ginger Morning, who is one of our trustees, actually came up with the idea of, why don't we ask you to go to buy some gold for us and make gold bars, and then we sell them for the rhino conservation.
I was fortunate enough to have a chance to have lunch with Clive Johnson, the CEO of B2Gold in Vancouver, Canada. And I looked at Clive and I said, we've got rhinos, you've got gold, let's do something. Let's create a coin or a medallion or a bar using your resource to create a sustainable source of funding for rhino conservation for the future.
There was it. The gold was bought, the bars was made, and I think it was 31st of January that we launched the bars in Windhoek. And suddenly one morning I had an email from my office, from my finance person, saying, these people don't have salaries. So I said, oh, what now? So I picked up my phone and I phoned Mark Daw. I said, Mark, I've got this problem. He said, but we've got the fund already ready for you. You just have to apply, put a proposal in.
1,000 ounces of gold can make an enormous difference to the livelihoods of the communities that live up there. We are, in essence, providing income and providing a livelihood to the communities. In the absence of tourism, especially now with COVID-19, even prior to that, when we had such a bad drought, the communities became even more dependent on the natural economy.
The idea is to make this a fund that will last for the next 25, 30 years, or even longer. And a portion of that will be distributed immediately as needed. And in this case, the COVID-19 crisis necessitated us to distribute funds, to pay salaries, to help people in the field.
The proceeds of the sales from the gold bars will be going towards responsible NGOs. And we've identified Save the Rhino Trust as the key NGO. And IRDNC, one of the first organizations that was in the Northwest, integrated rural development and nature conservation, so that ultimately the funds go to the communities and various aspects of their war on poaching.
To be able to support those hardworking men and women that are always in the front line between the poachers and the rhinos.
If it was not for B2Gold and the golden bars, I think by now we should have been in big trouble.
By extracting the gold, you reinvest it in other renewable resources.
The gold that's coming out from the ground is actually protecting the wildlife that's working on the ground, which is a very good symbol for the others.
I wish this was my bar. This is the 500 gram gold bar. So you'll see on this side you've got the Etindeka Mountains and you've got the mother rhino with her calf. And then on the reverse side we've got the serial number You've got the Rand refinery stamp, which is very important. Anywhere in the world, people will recognize the stamp and they will know that this bar contains 99.99% gold.
It is gorgeous.
We wanted to make a biggest contribution. And at Ballowwood, we see that as a way of giving back to the community.
Okay, so there you'll see the 500 gram bar.
Very special.
Feel the weight. It's incredible.
This opportunity which presented itself is absolutely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
We're privileged to have this.
This is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think this showcase really what the project is all about.
It's from 24 karat Namibian gold.
I'm looking at these rhinos is put there like Miss World photogenic, I would say.
There are only 1,000 of these gold bars, rhino gold bars, in circulation.
As far as I'm aware, it's the largest single donation of any corporate to the conservation of biodiversity anywhere in Africa.
Therefore, we so much appreciate and would want to continue as a government to work with B2 Gold.
And the fact that it's happening here in Namibia is something that we can all be extremely proud about and very grateful to B2 Gold.
Thanks to having this literal pot of gold through the funding for the Rhino Gold Bar, we're able to step in now and make sure that those trackers are supported, and so are their families and their communities.
We make sure that people sustain their jobs going forward, and who doesn't want gold?
And the B2 Gold Rhino Gold Bar has come in at a really critical time now, particularly with tourism being closed off and those forms of revenue not coming in.
To say we have the biggest rhino population or black rhino population in the world, let it be for the rest of our lives. And it's that heritage that we have. It's our resource that we can all look after and protect.
It's our heritage. And it's also good that other people like B2 Gold are also seeing it that way.
It's actually a very nice link between the investor that buys this gold bar, the rhino tracker in the northwest of Namibia, and the black rhinos. It's an intergenerational thing. The rhino trackers teach their children how to track rhinos, their children get taught, and so it flows down.
This is something that I want my children to have, and that we leave a little bit of a B2 Gold legacy. And if I can be part of that as part of my family, I'd be very proud.
It can also become an inheritance for the generations of my own clan. My children, my grandchildren.
If we can bring that passion over to future generations and to hand that over to my children, and I hope that that same passion for conservation gets migrated over to my kids.
And what we've done together is create a sustainable source of funding that should outlive all of us.
You know, I think as far as B2 Gold is concerned, we couldn't have chosen a better target in which to put our efforts as far as the environmental and conservation pillar is concerned. And I want to stress there that the money that's going towards environment and conservation is actually going towards the people.
Rhino is for all of us, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Vancouver, whether you are in the US. If you really want to see conservation at play with rural communities, I therefore humbly request each and everyone to join us on our Rhino tour and have a wonderful experience. This is what keeps rhinos on this planet.
I've done rhino trekking experience. It was just amazing walking in that landscape of the Kunene. And as we followed them, we could now find rhinos with the calf. We got the closest distance we could.
It's a warning sign.
And it was just amazing and lovely, something to experience that Namibia can offer. It's something that you have to do in your life.
Joseph Parkman was in and out of prison, dealing and doing drugs. Then a drug deal went wrong. Joseph was robbed, handcuffed, and scared straight out of the business. For 6 months, he roamed the streets as a homeless addict. Then one night, in a baseball dugout, Joseph met a stranger who totally changed his life.
I stand in awe of the power of the God who's our creator. And Terry and I sit here on this program, and the Lord speaks to us, and it's the word of knowledge. It's one of the manifestations of the Holy Spirit.
Something not always godly.
Not always, that's right. Well, there's a lot of negative voices out there, as we know.
Yes, there are.
And
so how do you know when it's God saying, Perry, I want to speak this to you right now?
And sometimes you don't know. And I think you pray over it and you think about it. And sometimes you just, a lot of times I'll just envision, as you and I are talking here today, I may envision that I'm here talking with God. And how am I supposed to address this issue?
Okay? Realize Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same for you right now. So let's pray. Let's call on his name and let him do the rest for you. Let's pray.
COVID-19 affects people very differently. Many people show no symptoms at all, but some are hospitalized for weeks. So what does the disease do to your body? The coronavirus enters through the mouth, nose or eyes. It then usually attaches itself to cells lining the nose, throat, airways or lungs. It can turn these cells into factories that multiply and spread the virus. For the majority, a fever, cough and breathlessness are as bad as it gets. But the virus can damage the small blood vessels lining the lungs and initiate clotting. The alveoli are tiny air sacs where oxygen goes into the blood. If they become inflamed, it can trigger pneumonia. Seriously ill patients need to be given oxygen as the lungs fill with fluid and debris.
I legit couldn't breathe. My oximeter was measuring under 88% oxygen levels, which is very dangerous. And the only time I ever thought my life was in danger was at that point.
COVID-19 doesn't just affect the lungs. It can also disrupt the immune system, which is used by the body to fight illnesses. Cytokines are part of the immune system that find and signal infections. For some people with severe COVID-19, this system can go into overdrive. If too many cytokines build up, it can cause an overreaction that damages healthy cells. This is called a cytokine storm for the most severe cases. COVID-19 can lead to seizures or even a coma. It can also cause brain problems that lead to strokes. The immune system overreacting can cause clots that stop the blood supply to parts of the brain. Brain inflammation, psychosis and dementia-like symptoms can also affect seriously ill patients. The average length of the illness is 14 days, but many people have symptoms for much longer. Breathing problems and post-viral fatigue last for months in some cases.
I cannot walk for long simply because I will feel a little bit short of breath and I feel the need to sit down. And that's something that has never happened to me before.
Some of the people who are most likely to develop severe symptoms are older adults and those with underlying health conditions. It's not fully known how anyone will react to COVID-19 until they get it. So it's important for everyone to follow health guidance. What precautions are you taking to stay safe?